Marcus Aurelius ruled the Roman Empire for 19 years during one of history's most turbulent periods. He faced devastating plagues that killed millions, constant wars on multiple fronts, political conspiracies, and even betrayal from his own family. Yet historical records show he never lost his temper in public, never made decisions from anger, and maintained such composure that his enemies respected him and his allies trusted him completely. Today, I'm going to reveal the exact mental techniques this philosopher emperor developed to master his emotions, techniques so powerful they've been studied and applied by leaders, therapists, and millions of people for nearly 2,000 years. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete system for transforming anger into wisdom, frustration into growth, and emotional chaos into unshakable inner peace. If you're someone who struggles with anger, whether it's road rage, workplace frustration, family conflicts, or just that constant low-level irritation that modern life seems to generate, this video will fundamentally change how you experience and respond to triggering situations. I'm not talking about suppressing your emotions or pretending problems don't exist. Marcus Aurelius wasn't emotionally numb. He was strategically brilliant about how he processed and channeled his emotional energy. What makes this even more remarkable is that we have access to his private thoughts through his personal journal, which we now call meditations. These weren't written for publication. They were his private notes to himself, his daily practice of working through challenges using Stoic principles. Think of it as the ultimate insider's guide to emotional mastery from someone who had more reasons to be angry than almost anyone in history. Before we dive deep, hit that subscribe button if you want to build unbreakable mental strength, and let's explore the mind of history's most powerful philosopher. The impossible situation, understanding Marcus's context. To truly understand why Marcus Aurelius's approach to anger is so powerful, we need to understand what he was dealing with. Imagine being handed absolute power over 65 million people across 3 continents, inheriting an empire in crisis, and having the weight of civilization literally on your shoulders. When Marcus became emperor in 161 AD, he immediately faced the Antonine Plague, which modern historians believe was either smallpox or measles. This pandemic swept through the Roman Empire for over a decade, killing an estimated 5 million people. Entire cities were abandoned. The economy collapsed. Trade routes shut down. And as emperor, every death, every economic crisis, every social breakdown was ultimately his responsibility. But the plague was just the beginning. The Parthian Empire launched a massive invasion in the east. Germanic tribes crossed the Danube in unprecedented numbers, threatening the very heart of the empire. Marcus spent more than half of his reign personally leading military campaigns, sleeping in tents, eating soldiers' rations, and making life-or-death decisions daily. Then came the personal betrayals. Avidius Cassius, one of his most trusted generals, declared himself emperor and launched a civil war. Marcus had promoted this man, trusted him with vast armies, and Cassius repaid that trust with treachery. Even more painful, Marcus's own son Commodus showed signs of the cruelty and instability that would later make him one of history's most notorious emperors. Any reasonable person would have been consumed by rage. The stress alone should have broken him. Yet Marcus not only maintained his composure, but used these extreme challenges to develop the most sophisticated system for emotional management ever recorded. This wasn't theoretical philosophy. This was practical wisdom forged in the crucible of absolute responsibility and unimaginable pressure. The root psychology of anger, Marcus's revolutionary discovery. Marcus Aurelius made a psychological discovery that modern neuroscience has only recently confirmed. Anger is never actually about the present moment. It's always about the gap between our expectations and reality. He expressed this insight in his private notes, how much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does, but only to what he does himself. Let me break this down with a modern example. You're driving to an important meeting, and traffic suddenly stops. Your immediate thought might be, "This is terrible." I'm going to be late. This always happens to me. But Marcus would ask, where exactly is the anger? The cars aren't angry. The road isn't angry. The delay itself has no emotional content. The anger exists entirely in the space between what you expected, a smooth drive, and what's actually happening, a traffic jam. This revelation is profound because it means anger is always optional. We create it through our mental interpretation of events. Marcus wrote in his personal notes, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This isn't positive thinking or denial. It's recognizing where your actual power lies. But Marcus went deeper. He realized that most of our expectations are unconscious and unrealistic. We expect other people to behave rationally, fairly, and considerately. We expect systems to work efficiently. We expect life to be predictable and just. But Marcus observed that these expectations are not based on reality. They're based on how we think the world should work. He developed what I call the expectation audit. Before reacting to any situation, he would ask himself, what assumption am I making here? What did I expect to happen? And is that expectation based on how the world actually works or how I wish it worked? For example, when Avidius Cassius betrayed him, instead of raging about loyalty and honor, Marcus asked, what did I expect? I expected a human being to behave perfectly under extreme pressure and temptation. But humans are fallible, especially when they believe their actions are justified. My expectation was unrealistic, so my anger is misdirected. This shift from "how dare this happen" to "of course this happened, it's exactly what I should have expected given human nature and circumstances" is the foundation of emotional freedom. The Stoic Anger Formula, a step-by-step system. Marcus developed what I call the Stoic Anger Formula, a systematic approach to transforming anger into wisdom. This isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending to be calm. It's about redirecting emotional energy toward effective action. Here's his complete system. Phase 1, the immediate response. Step 1, the sacred pause. The moment you feel anger rising, whether it's a flash of irritation or building rage, immediately create space between the trigger and your response. Marcus trained himself to take 3 deep breaths while mentally saying, I have power over my mind, not outside events. This is a meditation. It's emergency emotional first aid. You're literally giving your prefrontal cortex time to come online and override your amygdala's fight or flight response. Step 2, the reality check. Ask yourself one simple question. Is this situation within my control or outside my control? Marcus was obsessive about this distinction because it determines whether anger is useful or wasteful. If something is within your control, anger is unnecessary. You can simply take action. If something is outside your control, anger is pointless. You need acceptance and adaptation instead. For example, if someone cuts you off in traffic, the dangerous driving is outside your control, but your response is completely within your control. If your boss criticizes your work unfairly, their opinion is outside your control, but how you handle the feedback and what you do next is entirely up to you. Phase 2, the analysis. Step 3, the expectation audit. This is where Marcus's system becomes truly sophisticated. Ask yourself, what assumption or expectation created this anger? Be brutally honest. Often, we discover our anger is based on unrealistic expectations about human nature, fairness, or how quickly things should change. Marcus faced this constantly in politics. Senators would make decisions based on personal gain rather than the empire's welfare. Instead of getting angry about their selfishness, he would remind himself, I expected politicians to prioritize the common good over personal advantage. But self-interest is human nature. My expectation was naive, so my anger is misplaced. Step 4, the learning question. Every frustrating situation contains information. Marcus would ask, what is this situation teaching me about reality, human nature, or my own assumptions? This transforms anger from a destructive emotion into a learning opportunity. When the Antonine Plague devastated the empire, Marcus could have raged against the unfairness of nature or the incompetence of his advisors. Instead, he asked, "What is this crisis teaching me about leadership, resource allocation, and human resilience?" This mindset shift allowed him to develop innovative public health responses and maintain social stability during unprecedented chaos. Phase 3, the strategic response. Step 5, choose your response based on control. If the situation is within your control, take the most effective action possible without emotional interference. If it's outside your control, focus on adaptation and acceptance while looking for indirect influence opportunities. Step 6, the growth integration. After handling the immediate situation, Marcus would reflect, how has this challenge strengthened my character or improved my understanding? He viewed every difficult person and frustrating situation as training for greater resilience and wisdom. This wasn't just theory for Marcus. When news came that Avidius Cassius had declared himself emperor, Marcus's immediate response was the sacred pause. Then he applied the reality check. Cassius's rebellion was outside his direct control, but his response was completely within his power. The expectation audit revealed that he had perhaps been naive about human ambition under pressure. The learning question helped him understand the systemic issues that enabled the rebellion. His strategic response was to march east with his army, but he also prepared a public statement of forgiveness should Cassius surrender, demonstrating that his goal was restoration of order, not personal revenge. This systematic approach transformed what could have been a rage-fueled civil war into a strategic campaign that strengthened rather than divided the empire. The objective representation technique, advanced emotional alchemy. Marcus developed what might be his most powerful technique for emotional mastery, objective representation. This is the practice of describing situations using purely factual language, stripping away all emotional interpretation and loaded terminology. It sounds simple, but it's revolutionary in its effects. Here's how it works. Instead of thinking this person is being rude and disrespectful, you would think this person is using a raised voice and certain word choices. Instead of this traffic is terrible and ruining my day, you think multiple vehicles are moving slowly on this road. Instead of my boss is being unreasonable and demanding, you think my supervisor has requested additional work with a specific deadline. The power of this technique lies in how it separates facts from interpretation. Most of our emotional suffering comes not from events themselves, but from the stories we tell ourselves about what those events mean. Marcus discovered that by focusing on objective facts, he could respond to reality rather than his emotional interpretation of reality. Let me give you a detailed example of how Marcus applied this during one of his greatest challenges. When reports came that Germanic tribes had crossed the Danube in massive numbers, his initial emotional response might have been something like, "These barbarians are destroying everything we've built. They're ungrateful for our civilization and determined to bring chaos to the world." But Marcus trained himself to use objective representation. Large groups of people are moving from one geographical area to another. They are engaging in conflict with Roman settlements. They are using weapons and tactics different from our standard military approaches. They appear to be seeking resources and territory. This shift in language immediately changed his strategic thinking. Instead of seeing a moral conflict between civilization and barbarism, he saw a resource and territorial dispute that could potentially be resolved through negotiation, strategic settlement, or military deterrence. His emotional energy shifted from righteous anger to tactical problem solving. The technique becomes even more powerful when applied to personal relationships. Let's say your partner frequently interrupts you during conversations. The emotional interpretation might be, "They don't respect me. They think their ideas are more important than mine. They're being selfish and inconsiderate." The objective representation would be, "This person begins speaking before I have finished my sentences. They appear excited about sharing their thoughts. Their communication style differs from mine." Notice how this factual description opens up multiple possibilities for understanding and addressing the situation. Maybe they interrupt because they're enthusiastic and engaged. Maybe it's a cultural difference in communication styles. Maybe they have ADHD and struggle with impulse control. The objective representation allows you to gather more information and respond strategically rather than defensively. Marcus took this technique even further by applying it to his own internal states. Instead of thinking, "I'm so angry right now," he would observe, "I'm experiencing elevated heart rate, muscle tension, and rapid thoughts focused on this situation." This self-objectivity prevented him from being overwhelmed by his emotions while still acknowledging their presence. The key insight is that objective representation doesn't eliminate emotions. It prevents emotions from distorting your perception of reality. You can still feel frustrated while accurately assessing what's actually happening. You can still feel disappointed while clearly seeing your options for moving forward. Marcus practiced this technique daily, applying it to everything from military briefings to personal conversations. His private writings show him consistently working to see situations clearly rather than emotionally. This wasn't emotional suppression, it was emotional intelligence at the highest level. Advanced applications, handling specific anger triggers. Let's apply Marcus's system to the most common anger triggers people face today. I'll walk you through exactly how the philosopher emperor would handle modern situations using his ancient wisdom. Situation 1. Dealing with difficult people. Marcus had to manage senators who prioritized personal gain over the empire's welfare, military commanders who ignored orders, and even family members who betrayed his trust. His approach was revolutionary. He separated the person from their behavior and the behavior from his response. When someone acts in ways that trigger your anger, Marcus would suggest this thought process. This person is acting according to their current understanding of what's best for them. They may be mistaken, but they're not intentionally choosing to be wrong. My anger won't change their understanding, but my strategic response might influence the situation. For example, if a coworker takes credit for your ideas, instead of thinking they're dishonest and selfish, Marcus would use objective representation. This person has claimed responsibility for ideas I developed. They appear to believe this behavior will benefit them professionally. Then apply the control test. I can't control their behavior, but I can control how I document my contributions, communicate with leadership, and handle similar situations in the future. Situation 2. System failures and bureaucracy. Marcus dealt with the ultimate bureaucracy, the Roman government, plus military logistics, economic systems, and social structures that constantly failed or worked inefficiently. His insight was that systems reflect the limitations of the humans who created them, so expecting perfection from any system is unrealistic. When dealing with frustrating bureaucracy, Marcus would ask, "What did I expect from this system? Did I expect it to work perfectly despite being designed and operated by fallible humans under resource constraints?" Then he would focus on working within the system's actual capabilities rather than fighting against its limitations. Situation 3. Unfair treatment and injustice. This was perhaps Marcus's greatest challenge. As emperor, he saw incredible unfairness daily. Good people suffering while corrupt individuals prospered, honest soldiers dying while cowardly politicians lived comfortably, natural disasters destroying the homes of hardworking families while lazy aristocrats remained untouched. His approach was to distinguish between cosmic justice and human responsibility. He couldn't control the universe's fairness, but he could control his own actions and influence within his sphere of responsibility. When faced with unfairness, Marcus would ask, "What can I do to increase justice and reduce suffering within my actual power? And how can I accept the injustices that are beyond my influence while still working toward improvement?" Situation 4. Criticism and judgment from others. Marcus faced constant criticism from philosophers who thought he wasn't intellectual enough, from military leaders who questioned his strategic decisions, from citizens who blamed him for everything from plague outbreaks to economic problems. His response system was brilliant. First, he would ask, "Is there any truth in this criticism that I can use to improve?" If yes, he would extract the valuable information and discard the emotional charge. If no, he would remind himself, this person's opinion is based on incomplete information and their own psychological needs. It says more about them than about me. Second, he would remember that seeking universal approval is both impossible and unnecessary. His goal was to act with integrity and wisdom, not to be universally liked. Situation 5. Technology and modern frustrations. While Marcus didn't face technology issues, he dealt with communication delays, transportation failures, and system breakdowns that are remarkably similar to our modern frustrations. His approach translates perfectly. When technology fails, instead of raging about stupid computers or terrible service, apply objective representation. This system is not functioning as expected. The delay will require me to adjust my plans. Then focus on what you can control. Alternative solutions, backup plans, or simply accepting the delay and using the time differently. The key insight Marcus developed is that our anger about systems failures often reflects unrealistic expectations about reliability and control. Modern technology is incredibly sophisticated, but it's still created and maintained by humans, which means it will inevitably have limitations and failures. Building long-term emotional resilience. Marcus understood that managing anger in the moment is important, but building long-term emotional resilience is essential for sustained leadership and personal peace. He developed several daily practices that strengthened his ability to remain calm under pressure. Practice 1. Morning preparation. Every morning, Marcus would mentally prepare for the challenges he might face that day. He would remind himself, "Today, I will meet people who are confused, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. But I won't be surprised or angry because I know that ignorance and selfishness exist in the world. I can't control other people's behavior, but I can control my response." This wasn't pessimism, it was realistic preparation. By expecting difficult people and challenging situations, he eliminated the surprise factor that often triggers anger. You can adapt this practice by spending 5 minutes each morning thinking about potential frustrations you might encounter and mentally rehearsing how you'll apply the Stoic anger formula. Practice 2. Evening review. Each night, Marcus would review his day and examine how he handled challenging situations. He would ask, where did I respond with wisdom rather than emotion? Where did I let anger influence my decisions? What can I learn from today's experiences? This practice builds emotional intelligence over time by turning daily experiences into learning opportunities. The key is honest self-assessment without self-criticism. You're gathering data to improve your responses, not judging yourself for being human. Practice 3. The view from above. When facing particularly frustrating situations, Marcus would imagine viewing his problems from a cosmic perspective. He would remind himself that from the perspective of the universe, most of our daily frustrations are insignificant. This wasn't meant to minimize genuine problems, but to provide perspective on which battles are worth fighting and which irritations deserve our emotional energy. Practice 4. Voluntary discomfort. Marcus regularly practiced voluntary discomfort, sleeping on hard ground during military campaigns, eating simple food, enduring cold weather without complaint. This wasn't masochism, but training. By choosing small discomforts, he built resilience for when life imposed larger challenges on him. You can apply this by occasionally choosing minor inconveniences, taking cold showers, walking instead of driving, fasting occasionally, or sleeping without your usual comforts. These practices build your tolerance for frustration and reduce your tendency to anger when things don't go perfectly. Practice 5. Philosophical study. Marcus spent time daily reading and reflecting on philosophical principles. He particularly focused on the writings of Epictetus and other Stoic philosophers who had developed practical wisdom for handling life's challenges. This regular intellectual engagement kept his mind focused on timeless principles rather than temporary frustrations. Practical implementation. Marcus Aurelius proved that it's possible to maintain inner peace and strategic thinking even under the most extreme pressures imaginable. His system for managing anger isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending problems don't exist. It's about channeling emotional energy toward effective action rather than wasteful reaction. The key insights from a philosopher emperor are these. Anger always comes from unrealistic expectations. Most situations that trigger anger are outside our direct control, but our responses are always within our power. Objective representation helps us see situations clearly rather than emotionally. And daily practices build long-term resilience that makes anger less likely and less destructive when it does arise. Here's your implementation plan. Start with the sacred pause technique this week. Every time you feel anger rising, take 3 deep breaths and remind yourself that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Practice this single technique until it becomes automatic. Next week, add the reality check. For every frustrating situation, ask whether it's within your control or outside your control. Focus your energy only on what you can actually influence. In week 3, begin using objective representation. Describe triggering situations using only factual language without emotional interpretation. Notice how this changes your response options. Finally, start incorporating Marcus's daily practices, morning preparation, evening review, and regular study of wisdom principles that help you maintain perspective. Remember, Marcus Aurelius developed these techniques while running an empire during multiple crises. Whatever challenges you're facing, you have the same mental tools available that helped him maintain wisdom and effectiveness under unprecedented pressure. The goal isn't to become emotionally numb, it's to become emotionally intelligent. You want to feel your emotions, understand their messages, but not be controlled by them. Marcus showed us that this level of emotional mastery is possible for anyone willing to practice these principles consistently. Start today. The next time someone or something triggers your anger, remember that you have the same choice Marcus faced thousands of times. You can react from emotion, or you can respond from wisdom. The emperor chose wisdom, and that choice made him not just a great leader, but a model of human excellence that still inspires people 2,000 years later. Your turn to follow in the footsteps of history's most powerful philosopher. Subscribe for more ancient wisdom for modern challenges, and let me know in the comments, which of Marcus's techniques will you implement first? Let's build a community of people committed to emotional mastery and wise action. Comment below whether you want to be a part of the community I'm building. Subscribe to Stoic Discipline Dynamics and share it with your friends and family. Ask them to join and subscribe too. Don't forget to hit the like button to make me reach more people.